integrity can open doors for you. It's a huge asset because each time you think you are robbing somebody, ultimately you are robbing yourself.
One, two, three, four.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the RBL podcast. I am your host, Ayo Ukido. Today we will be talking about a very, very important topic, something it's just extremely important that we touch on, and that is integrity. Integrity. I mean, if you look at it, integrity is an asset. In the business world, it is called goodwill. Goodwill. The integrity or the goodwill that a company or a person generates over time, you can lose it just like this. And that is a big loss. That would be a big loss. The integrity, the goodwill that you have as a company opens doors, gives you access to certain realms, to certain levels, gives you a seat at certain tables. But if that goodwill, if that integrity is lost, then something big is lost. Before I continue, I'd like to ask again, have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Are you following our social media pages? If not, please do so now. And always remember that if this content, if the information you're getting from these platforms look like something that can benefit you or somebody that you know, always share these videos with them. Thank you for doing so. All right, continuing. Integrity, like I said before, is a bankable resource. Integrity or trust is a bankable resource. I mean, banks can give you money to do business just because they trust you. Where they're asking people to bring so many other collateral, fill 100 forms and the likes, they can just call you in and say, okay, loan approved. I mean, why are you to question that? And what would other people do? Is based on the trust that they have in you. And that cannot be taken for granted. That is huge deal. It's a big deal. So don't ever compromise on integrity. In this part of the world, in Africa, people always think that they are smart when they play fast one and you know, somebody pays you for a business or a service, you don't deliver, you take the money and you abscond. And you feel you are being smart. What you've successfully done is jeopardize your access to more money, to more business in the future. And who's gonna lose in the end? It is your loss. So one of the reasons also why our financial system has refused to grow to the level of the developed world, the credit system, and all, is still because we cannot find good systems. You understand? They're trying to build systems to checkmate people from fraud and all that. And that's because there's no integrity. Generally, there's no trust, and that is a problem. So we have to start hammering on these things now. Because see, integrity is a huge asset, it's a huge deal. If you have it, especially as much as possible, if you even put on your CV that I have certain skills, I don't have that much experience, but I have integrity. That alone can get you a job. If you ask CEOs or HR firms and ask them, okay, who would you rather give a job to? A very skilled person who you cannot trust, or a not too skilled person who has integrity? I can bet you 100 out of 100 they'll give it to the person who doesn't have so much experience or skill but has integrity. Because look, we can still cope, we can help train the person, but somebody who is generally a thief or has no integrity, that person is a ticking time bomb. So you don't even want to bring such a cancer into your system. And that's a big deal. So that's one of the reasons why integrity is a huge asset. My wife and I started a company, an online fashion trading company, around 2014, 2015, thereabout. We were selling online, on some online big online marketing companies, here in Nigeria. And after a while, because there were so many challenges with this platforms, and then especially it was payment on delivery, and then I mean at some point I was even handling deliveries, and you would get to some people who had called and said, "Oh, when you get here, I'll pay you. I'm at home." You get there, and they tell you, or they generally stop picking their calls, or they find some reason, they find some excuse to say, "No, I don't want the product anymore. It's defective. It's this, is that." You know, so it's we ended up taking back so many products, and then remember that we've spent the cost of transportation to get there. Bond fuel and all that. So at some point, we got off these platforms and decided to use general social media platforms to push our products. And then we made a we changed our policy to payment before delivery, payment before delivery. And for a while, it was an issue, but we stuck with our guns. We said, no, we're going to stick with this because we're tired of all these people, treating us this way. And after a while, we started gaining traction. And one of the reasons why we grew to the point where we are now is because when people ordered, we sent their orders, they got it, and they were so grateful. And those comments gave us access to more sales. We'd post the comments on social media, the review, the good reviews, the thanks. Oh, thank you, I got my order, I so love it. Those give us so many other sales. And we've been doing that since 2017 up until now. Up until now, we're still getting good sales because we deliver. Also, when we first started, we always had to pay for goods before we got them. But over time, our suppliers, one of them at some point, I mean, this happened around 2016 or thereabout. One of them, I mean, it's always an issue when you always have to put all the cash down before you get goods because you still want to sell them, And at that time, remember, it was payment on delivery. You take the goods to the customer, then you collect money, and then you start thinking about the next. But if you have to pay first, with your money to get those goods, and remember you're still trying to sell them, it's always a hassle, especially when you're dealing with huge volumes. So after a while, we said, look, we can't keep doing this, especially when you have to start looking for funds to, to buy these goods so you can deliver. We said, we can't do this. Why can't our suppliers give us some credit? You know, and one of them decided to try us out, did his due diligence, even went as far as coming to our home, checked us out and said, okay. And he started giving us some credit. And what we did was that if immediately we delivered and got money, we sent him his money. And after a while, he was the one going around saying, you can trust these guys. And since then, it was easy. It gave us access to goods, even on credit, to send to customers, even before we got paid, But that is history now. We don't even need that anymore. But I'm just telling you that integrity can open doors for you. It's a huge asset. It's a huge asset that you can bank on, you know. So I hope you've learned something today. Remember, if this looks like something that will benefit somebody, if there's somebody that you know that lacks integrity, maybe you should send them this video. It may just change their mind. Because each time you think you are robbing somebody, ultimately you are robbing yourself. Ultimately, you are robbing yourself of the future that you deserve. You are robbing yourself. So till next time, remember, subscribe, share, and like our platforms. Until next time, God bless you.